Hi guys, and welcome to Sensory Quest, where we review toys and gadgets for kids of all needs and abilities, as inspired by my daughter Elena, who is deafblind. The classic bendable ball toy by Oball. This toy is recommended for anyone from newborn up until about 3 years of age. Now obviously it depends on your individual child. For Elena, this was absolutely amazing when she was just a few months old and up until, let's say, maybe 7 or 8 months. Now she'll still play with it today at almost 19 months, but she has a few other things that she enjoys doing by now, so it's not really the most favorite anymore. However, again, in the beginning, this was just the best thing ever for her. It is made out of smooth, flexible plastic, so as you can see, there's no rough edges on this anywhere whatsoever. And it's just got a really nice feel to it, so it's just like your hand just kind of glides across. It's really nice and soft. It's quite unique in the way that it feels, and the best part is that it's super light. So I'm not using a lot of effort in throwing it around or picking it up. It doesn't weigh a lot, very, very light, and also it's very, very bendy. So that might not sound like a big deal, but for a newborn, they don't have a lot of strength, so this is awesome. Cleaning it, pretty straightforward, of course. You can wipe it down with the cloth, put it under running water, and every now and then, if you really want to get it super clean, this toy is also dishwasher safe. Now this is one of the first toys that Elena gravitated towards, and that's probably, again, because of the weight of this and just the fact that it was something that she could easily grasp. So as you can tell just by the way it's made, there's just holes everywhere, and a little baby's hands can go no wrong in how they try to grab onto this. So it really gives them the ability to find any way to grasp it, and once they figure that out, then obviously they'll be very proud of themselves and continue to play with this. It's great for first exploration, for motor skills, and in Elena's case especially, because she is deafblind, and although she's profoundly deaf, she does have some vision, but only peripherally, and for her it's really important to be able to bring objects close to her face so she can see things at different angles. So because this toy is so flexible and so smooth, it was great for her to use as something that she can first try to explore, and we weren't worried that she would hurt herself because, as you know, most babies love to bring things to their mouth, so whether they do have sensory loss or not, it doesn't matter. They all love to do that, and unfortunately their coordination is not that great, so sometimes they can hurt themselves a little bit. They can poke themselves in the eye or hurt themselves in their cheeks, but this, perfect because it's so soft and it just bends. So Elena would often squish this against her face and trying to discover what this thing is, and she would try to bite it, and in that case her nose would squish against it, but that's perfectly fine. And it was great for us because we could try to understand where she could see best, and it also gave her the confidence to interact with the toy on her own, especially for sensory loss children. It's more difficult to learn about the world around them, and sometimes they can be afraid to explore new things, and it's important to start them off with experiences that are enjoyable and making sure that they feel comfortable, and this toy was great for us for that. Now, it's got great colors, so if your child does have vision and can see color, that's also something that would keep their interest. It is available in some different color combinations, but I found that this particular one was the most vibrant, and because Elena's vision isn't that great, we figured that the more vibrant the better. But it's up to you. It all depends on what your child's abilities are. But I will show you an example of one of the other ones. So it looks like that, and I believe there's one more that's similar to this one, as in it has kind of the same color in different sort of shades, but I guess it's a preference, but for us this was the best one. I'll just put this away. Now, the other awesome thing about this toy is that you can also use it in the bath just because it's so light. It will just float in the water and it won't sink to the bottom. For us, it was awesome because a lot of the bath toys that are meant for newborns or the few early months were a little bit too advanced for Elena, and because she already loved this so much, it was something that we could use in the water for her to feel comfortable, have something to play with, and just find a different way to interact with it in the water and all of that. So that's also pretty awesome. And lastly, it's great because you can attach this to practically anything you can think of. You can just attach it to your stroller or a car seat. We used it on the high chair or on baby gates, and all you need to do is just thread something through one of the holes and attach it to anything you want. Now, the same company sells this Oball link, and you can use this to attach it. It's, you know, it looks cute, and you can just hook on one end like that, and then obviously, you know, hook it onto anything you want. But, you know, as cute as this is, it's not necessary. Obviously, you can use literally anything you have around the house, even a piece of material. I mean, there's a lot of things you can use, but the important part is that it's light. You can bring it anywhere. And so far, in all honesty, it's been one of the best toys that Elena had when she was in her first few months. And later on, you can also use this to advance your coordination skills and gross motor skills, again, depending on your child's abilities. For us right now, Elena being 19 months, we're still not able to play sort of like throw and catch because her vision is not that great. So we're still working on that. But, you know, in your case, if your child is able to see and you can start introducing sort of throwing a toy back and forth, then this would be perfect for that because, again, it's so light and it won't require a lot of effort to do. And also, if it falls, it doesn't make that much sound. You know, it's, again, pretty light. And even if it accidentally hits them, again, it won't be a big deal at all. Like, this is amazing. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal of a toy, but I cannot stress enough how awesome this has been for us. It's helped us in many, many ways, and Elena has absolutely loved this simple toy. So from that perspective, from you know, an Elena score perspective, it's a definite 10 out of 10. I cannot recommend this one enough, and we absolutely loved it. The Vibrant Village Rattle Teethe Keys by Skip Hop. This toy is recommended for 3 months and up, and I think the reason for that is mainly because part of it is quite heavy now. I don't know why they did that, but the cat part of this toy is so very heavy. Like, even I find this heavy, and I'm, you know, not a toddler, so I find that kind of strange. They would definitely feel this if it ever fell on their face. Elena would often play lying on her back, as most babies do, but even later on, due to her sensory loss, she's still on her back quite a lot. And although now she's better at understanding how to hold on to toys and not really drop them on her face, at the beginning it wasn't really the safest thing to let her play with independently because I always worried she would hurt herself. So that's kind of my only negative thing about this, is how heavy this part is. But other than that, you know, it's made out of soft plastic on this side, so that's pretty neat, and it's easy to clean. You know, it's just plastic. The only thing I'd say is, you know, submersing this in water runs the risk of getting water inside and under this little ball, which, you know, is not a huge deal, but I find that with a lot of toys, as soon as there's an opening anywhere, you run the risk of mold, so I'm always very anxious about that, so I tend to just kind of wipe this down and try not to submerge it in water. It's a good size. I mean, you know, it just fits in your palm. So it's not too bad. You can definitely bring this along wherever you go. It's, you know, it's got 2 different ways to interact with. It's got sort of the teething keys on this side and the spinning yard ball rattle on this side. I feel like Elena would prefer it to be almost like 2 separate toys, because sometimes I would catch her wanting to just play with the keys and trying to get rid of this part. Maybe because it's so heavy, I'm not sure. But you know, every child is different. The keys, they're meant for mouthing, which obviously makes sense. They're out of like more soft plastic, but it's great for sensory because they're different shapes, so you can explore the different shapes, different colors if you are able to see that. And then the cool part, especially for Elena, was that each one has like different textures. So this one has the sort of lines going through it, and then there's some, you know, circles on this side. This one is just different altogether. And then this one was pretty neat because it has like the circular grooves. So she was very interested in figuring out like, what's this thing do? Now, even though Elena cannot hear, she still enjoyed this part quite well. So she could like just kind of move this around. She would mouth part of the cat, and then with her other, you know, finger, she would like just try to play with this. So, you know, she found ways to interact with it. But again, I would say that I feel like she wanted to play with these things independently of each other. So I'm still, you know, quite amazed at how heavy this is, especially for a 3-month-old. But anyways, overall, it's, you know, it's a nice toy. It's got different textures. It's great for teething, but I don't feel like Elena ever really used it for that. Maybe because, you know, everyone is unique in what they like, but it would be great for teething as well. And overall, from an Elena score, this would be a 6 out of 10. The Bolli Rattle by Ogosport. This toy is recommended from newborn up until 8 years of age. Now, obviously, you know, you could play with this forever and ever if you really, really wanted to, but I still feel like 8 years is a little bit like pushing it. I'm not sure that an 8-year-old would find this as fascinating, but you know, you never know. For Elena, so far at 19 months almost, I feel like she's kind of given up on this, but she did enjoy it in the first year or so. It's made out of flexible and soft silicone, so as you can see, like, you know, it's pretty bendy, and like I can manipulate this quite easily. And because it's silicone, it's very easy to clean as well. It doesn't take a lot, and it's also dishwasher safe. Now, although it's bendy, soft, and you know, it's great for like manipulating it and stretching it, it's also great for grasping. So just like the Oball that we talked about earlier, it does have many ways for you to kind of grab onto it, as opposed to, let's say, this toy, which is much harder, and again, because it's so heavy on one side, it's difficult. But these two guys, you know, quite easy to grab onto from different places. You can chew on it, throw it around. If your child is able to hear, you know, there's obviously that rattling sound. And for Elena, although she cannot hear that part, she still found this part very, very interesting. So she would tend to like bite on things and then try to get herself in here. Eventually she found a way to get to these little discs, so that was quite exciting. And the reason for that is because she would love to kind of spin them around, but also feel them. So they each have different textures. I'm just gonna try to get this closer. So this one has little dots, and then we have the sort of circular lines on this one, which feels quite nice. And then lastly, sort of straight lines. So it has a completely different feel to it. For someone that relies a lot on touch, this was absolutely awesome for us. You know, it's things that you wouldn't really think of, but for someone like Elena, this was really, really interesting for her. And the only thing I'd say is that the parts that hold the rattle are quite heavy as opposed to the rest of the toy. So everything else is so bendy and it's so soft and light and everything. And then these guys are just like huge weights. So that's my only negative thing, because obviously, again, as soon as anything is heavy, you kind of worry if they hurt themselves by dropping it on their face. They do sell this toy without the rattle, so it's literally just these sort of silicone stretchy parts. But I don't think it's really worth it at that point, because a child should technically be able to play with something like this within the first few months, or half a year. But either way, I don't see the point in investing in a toy that's similar when this one has the rattle attached to it. And as much as these parts are heavy, they're certainly not as heavy as this cat. So it's a little heavier, but not that bad. It's great for, shape exploration, whether you have vision or not. Again, for grasping, hand-eye coordination, and just, overall fine motor skills. So however your child interacts with their world, this has something for everyone. It has, the rattle for sound and just feeling the different sort of textures on these discs, the ability to kind of manipulate by stretching. It's actually quite interesting, and it provided Elena with a lot of playtime. So for that reason, we would rate this as a 10 out of 10. And that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching, and if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch out for more content coming soon.